He woke up early that morning. He had breakfast. He kissed his wife. He went to work. He was an ordinary man. Neighbors described him as polite, quiet, kind even. No one imagined what he was capable of doing. But the question that no one wants to answer is this: what if he wasn't different from you? Welcome to Psyche Obscure. Today we'll enter where few have the courage to look. The mind of those who kill. The myth of the monster. For centuries we have believed in a comforting idea. Killers are born different. They are monsters from the beginning. You can see it in your eyes. This idea is false, and science proves it. Most murderers, especially those who commit premeditated crimes, showed no obvious signs before the act. They had jobs, families, normal routines. So what happened? To understand this, we need to talk about three forces that, combined, they can turn anyone into something they wouldn't recognize themselves. Trauma, environment, and a series of small choices. The seed, trauma, and formation. No murderer appears out of nowhere. The story begins long before the crime. Studies with prison populations show frighteningly consistent patterns. Childhood abuse, emotional neglect, repeated humiliation, absence of secure bonds. But be careful. That's no excuse. It's an explanation. Millions of people go through traumas and don't kill anyone. Trauma alone doesn't create a murderer. What he does is open a door. And what determines if this door will be crossed are the next layers. Psychology calls it progressive desensitization, the process by which someone loses the ability to feel empathy, gradually, almost imperceptible. It's not a switch that goes out all at once. It's a candle that is being blown slowly. The environment that shapes. Hannah Arendt coined one of the most disturbing phrases in modern philosophy: the banality of evil. She noted that atrocities are not committed only by fanatics, but by ordinary people, inserted in systems that normalize cruelty. The environment has a power that we underestimate. When violence becomes routine around someone, whether at home, in the community, or in contexts of war and oppression, the brain begins to recalibrate what is normal. Philip Zimbardo, the psychologist behind the famous Stanford experiment, developed the concept of the Lucifer effect, the idea that situations can corrupt character. It's not just who you are, it's where you are and what the system allows. That doesn't mean we're puppets, but it means that none of us is as immune as you think. The climb. Small transgressions. Here is the most disturbing point of this whole process. No one wakes up determined to kill for the first time. What happens is an escalation. It starts with small transgressions. A lie, a verbal aggression, an act of cruelty that got unpunished. Every time the brain crosses a line and does not suffer consequences, the next line is easier to cross. Neuroscientists call this moral habituation. What used to cause guilt, anxiety, repulsion, it's ceasing to cause. It's like developing tolerance to a drug. You need larger doses to feel the same effect. And at some point in this escalation, something that seemed unthinkable, it starts to seem possible. The moment of crime, what happens in the mind. When researchers study the mental state of people at the time of a homicide, they find recurring patterns: dissociation, a feeling of unreality, as if it were outside one's own body, cognitive tunneling. The mind focuses on a single goal, blocking everything else. Empathy suppression. The victim is no longer perceived as human. Psychologists call this dehumanization. It is the same mechanism used in wars, in genocides, in institutionalized tortures. First, you remove humanity from the other with words. Then, with actions, it becomes easier. It's not that the murderer feels anything, it's just that he learned or was conditioned to turn off what he feels. And us, we come to the most uncomfortable part. If evil is not born but is built, if it depends on trauma, environment, escalation, and dissociation. So the question that remains is inevitable. Where's the boundary between them and us? The honest answer of psychology is less than we want to believe. Not because we are all potential killers, but because the conditions that create a murderer, they are not conditions of another world. They are conditions of this. What protects us is not innate moral superiority. It's a combination of bonds, choices, opportunities, and luck. To understand this is not to excuse the evil. It's to stop pretending that he comes from somewhere else. That he lives in monsters, not in men. If this video made you uncomfortable, great. This discomfort is the beginning of understanding something real about human nature. Next week, we will explore the Stanford experiment. The study they tried to bury because it proved too much about what we are capable of. If you've come this far, leave the like and activate the bell. The Obscure Psyche exists to go where it is difficult to look. See you next time.